Recording.
No. Okay, we'll open the meeting. You have a list of attendees.
Yes, so currently it is, like to everybody go around, I guess.
Okay. Gail Inzer,
John Merriman. Scott Welsh.
Wally Lippincott.
Megan Benjamin.
Joseph Wiley. That's it.
It is a public meeting, so other people have access to this, right?
Should, yes.
okay. All right, this is a meeting of the Baltimore County Agriculture Advisory Board, and we have an agenda to consider some things related to several requests of landowners on easement properties. Are there any additional items for the agenda?
No.
Well, actually, is the mouth appraisal policy, is that an item we need to vote on, I believe?
Thank you, Thank you, Megan.
Okay. All right, we'll add that. All right, next we'll go to approval of the minutes. I've reviewed those and John read through those. We see no additions or corrections. Any comments?
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Those in favor? Accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Right. Let's look at item number 2, the easement landowner request. The first one is from David and Mary Dubell on Miller's Mill Road. They have already been approved for the release of a family lot, and they're requesting an extension because of the circumstances right now in the family and the economy. Are there any comments or questions regarding that property?
This is Wally. The only thing to add is this is the second lot that they've taken on the farm. It's a large farm. It was used for horses. It's pretty much, I think, in fallow now. But there was one lot that was released and a house was built and occupied by one of their other sons. This is the second lot.
But this will be the limit because of the acreage.
Yes, yeah, it's 117 acres. So this should be the limit.
What's it, a child's lot, or is it for a tenant house, or what's the house for?
This is a child's lot. For this, right.
It was reserved in the back before when they sold the easements.
Right. Pardon me?
That child's lot was reserved when they sold the easements.
Right. So this is an older easement, you can, and this is before the new restricted lots and all these other options. So everyone had the right for the child's lots.
But then you had so long to use them, basically.
As long as you own it, you have the right to take advantage of it. If you sell the farm, then you lose those rights. So it doesn't expire by time; it expires by the owner of the property.
So this is an extension for what reason? I'm sorry, I haven't got it yet.
There is a timeline, right, Wally, on the lots, and MALF requires that they extend them if they haven't used them in a certain amount of years.
Right. Once they've gone through a preliminary release, which both of these lots did, Malf, oh, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago was concerned that these lots would just linger out there. So they set up a process whereby people had to ask to have these approvals renewed. So this is a renewal of a prior approval. They're asking for another, I think it's 5 years, Megan, 5 years, Joe,
Yeah.
to build the house. I think there's been a number of issues for him to get this done, and his letters indicated certainly the more current scenario is not helping.
Right. Anything else for clarification? If not, is there a motion for extension of the preliminary release of this one lot on the Dubell farm?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, accepted. All right, the second request is from Wisner Farms on Mount Zion Road. Again, a request for extension of the preliminary release of a family lot. And I just thought it was approved sometime in the past also, and is in this 5-year review.
Yes, that's correct. In the same kind of explanation in his letter, Larry Wisner's request, he says, request an extension of the amended preliminary release concurrently with the world today and everything that is happening in it. I am planning on possibly building in 2 to 3 years.
That spot has been already designated, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's the woods right there.
At the woods.
Place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, coincidentally, again, 2 lots for the 2 Wisners, and the other one is built. Is it Michael? No, the other one. This one hasn't been built. I think he has, he has another home somewhere else. So, yeah, I think it's been a slow process for him to decide whether to relocate here.
I'll make a motion to extend the amended preliminary release for Larry Wisner Farms.
Second?
I'll second it. Steve.
Any comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passed. Right. Now, do you want to consider that appraisal now or wait until later?
Why don't we do it now?
Okay.
Seems kind of cut and dry.
I was able to read that on the computer this afternoon. Megan sent it to me, but I had a water problem here, so I'm a little out of commission, and my printer is not working. But John had a chance to read it, so we both got the basic information out of it. And we said we saw 2 points. Do you remember what they were?
Yes, the point. Well, the only point I think was important is that there's a significant change in the value of land, either up or down. I think that was the 2 main words that I read. Significant change. I think that's what it says. Significant change in the value of the land.
Right.
In a 2-year period that you could. Just can the landowner request another one if there's been significant, or it's totally up to the now to request a second appraisal?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how anyone would know that there's a significant change
Well, you just,
without
I
doing
read,
appraisal.
Right in order to request it. It sounded like it'd have to come from one of the boards.
I would think if a landowner throws up a bunch of new buildings over the summer or does a significant amount of repair, then he or she would say, hey, we did all this work, we would like a new appraisal.
Right. Yeah, that could be significant.
It sounds more like not necessarily a significant change in the property, rather than it's a significant change in the market.
Right.
Right.
So the
Who could,
examples
does it,
they give are county change in zoning or comp plan.
Yeah.
does it say who could make the request? I don't have it in front of me.
Not that I see.
That's a really good question.
Could you repeat that, please?
You can request to.
You can request if you have additional.
Does the board want to, I guess, not knowing the answer, but knowing that they want to discuss this, the state wants to discuss this at this meeting, do you want to tease that out a little bit? And I presume you'd want to say that the landowner would have the request for change. You would be, is that what you would want us to convey?
Yeah, if they made.
The one line that I've seen in there, we can't find it again, but it didn't say a thing about the landowner request. It sounded like the board had to request it.
It actually, at the top, it says the foundation may wish to order a new appraisal if that's one of the, and then it has the factors where the foundation might want to request a new appraisal.
Right, in accordance with this section, for up to 2 years. Any appraisal can be up to 2 years acceptable unless there's a significant change. Yeah, it says here the foundation orders a new appraisal. It says there are some cases where, in lieu of using, I guess it says existing.
Maybe appropriate of the foundation to order a new appraisal. Don't say anything about it. Just the landowner requested it.
Yeah.
The attack scenario.
Yeah, we.
Yeah.
Okay, we found it now.
Yeah.
If the asking price was rejected, appraisals can be reused.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is down at number, let's do that. Letters. There's a significant change in the,
Also on number 6, that gives the right to the landowner or to the county administrator if they had an objection for a material reason. So I guess that's where the landowner or county could request.
there's number 4. There's significant, number 4, it says there was a significant change in the real estate market and either a downward or upward trend. That's one of the reasons that it could be requested. That was, to me, the main one. And that's, like you said, unless they've added a bunch of agricultural buildings or any kind of buildings that makes the land more valuable, that can be requested. And nowhere on there do I see where it says the landowner can do it.
Yeah, I don't see that.
If he's the one doing the buildings, or the real estate's going way up or way down, he wouldn't certainly request another one. But if it's going way up in value, he would certainly make one request.
Well, here, number 7 might cover that.
Yeah, new information would be, a new building or new infrastructure of some kind. Well, I think it's To me, it's not the best language in the world, none of it, but I guess you can get out of it that the landowner can request it.
Right.
And so that the, is there anything we can act, this is just for information, or we need to act on this tonight?
They are asking for, they're asking for
Input?
county's input, correct, Wally?
That's correct. They want to get it approved before, I presume, before the cycle starts.
But it wouldn't apply now, it would apply to the next cycle.
Right. I think this just passed this past legislative session, so I think you're correct. The law would go into effect in July. So, but they did ask us how many people, well, we don't know how many people will be ranking yet. So I don't know that for certain, but I do think it's a year out.
Okay.
Oh, I had a question. Earlier, forget, who pays for the second appraisal?
Pardon me?
Who pays for the second appraisal if it's approved?
We'll write that down.
It wouldn't be the county would pay for it, would they?
No.
Requesting it.
No, it's typically been the state. The only time we paid for appraisals were when we submitted more than the minimum or the maximum number of easement properties that were permitted for review. And that was a couple of years ago, we had to pay those extra appraisals. Otherwise, we don't pay appraisals.
Well, I think it's, according to what I'm reading in that final paragraph, if the landowner or the county shows justification for a new appraisal, they would submit that and then request that the state reappraise.
And
And
BGS.
that's going to be awkward, I mean, because how long these appraisals take, and our appraisals always are the last that they get done. I have to say I don't have that document in front of me, but it does seem as if there may need to be a little more tweaking of when someone could ask and who pays for it and what the more specific criteria. The whole idea is to help expedite this process by reducing the number of appraisals.
You say reducing them, you say?
Yeah, so that when you have repeat people, you don't you submit 12, and if 4 of them applied the previous year, then the state would only have to do 8 new appraisals, which would, in theory, expedite the process.
The ones that applied 2 years ago.
Yeah, but then the last paragraph says the county, with any appraisals from the previous and the justification for the reuse.
I think maybe we should just give some bullet point suggestions of what should be added to this. Like the question of who pays for a second appraisal if it's requested, who has the right to request a new appraisal.
The only advantage to the state or the landowner that I can see, if there's a significant change up for the landowner
Right.
and down to the state.
Right.
I mean, other than that, why would anybody even request one? If it's the second year, if it is your second year application, but it's only 12 months later, it probably didn't change that much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but if if the values go significantly down, I can see where the state would maybe think about reappraisal. Or they go significantly up, I can see where the landowner might say, well, wait a minute, land's really going up around here.
Yeah.
If it's not a significant move, either way, up or down, it's a mute, a mute thing. Me,
We wouldn't want to slow down the process unless
Right.
it's dramatic happens.
Well, that's a good point. If could it slow the process down? The timing's not specifically, like if somebody wants to have a second appraisal, they need to say it by July 1st or something, otherwise it'll delay it and make things worse because they can't make offers till they're all done. So I think from what Steve was saying, I would think like the first question is who pays for the second appraisal, and then perhaps what you've teased out, maybe the second would be what would be the timetable and
Yeah.
how would you ensure it does not cause delays?
And I think that's two good suggestions. That's two good suggestions we can put on there.
And this is what they're looking for. They're looking for comments, edits, suggestions, and questions that we have.
I said there has to be some kind of a date that the landowner or the state would have to get their request for a reappraisal in, or like Molly or someone said, it's just going to drag everything out farther,
Right.
Okay, well, I think we have some good points there, major ones, and you can forward those to the state.
Yes, that's real. They're very good. We can write that up and get that to the state.
Okay, anything else for the open meeting?
No, that's all.
Gail, do you have the language to read to close the meeting? Did you get that?
No, I don't, Wally. You always gave me that sheet.
Do you have that sheet that says written statement? Maybe we could.
Yeah, I don't think I have that.
Statement before closing a meeting?
Yeah.
Here. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you have to state. We'll write this up.
Okay, here it is.
We'll write this up for you for tomorrow night. And we meant to do that. Kind of got behind here.
We got one here. We got a written statement for closing a meeting under the Open Meeting Act. We got one here.
Right. So you got to kind of tease out what you're going to say. We need to give you a little cheat sheet maybe, because you have to get people to, you have to have a motion, you have to second, and we have to record each member in favor individually. And then you have to state what the, there's statutory authority, that 10-508, and then indicate what the reasoning is. And somewhere down there there it is, number 3, to consider the acquisition of real property. So you have to read that out. And then we'll take notes that will be kept for a year, but they're not open to the public. And our notes will be basically all the decisions on the ranking. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps.
So all we really need to do is write our member's name down and whether they're in favor or opposed to closing the public meeting, basically.
Right. We can do that. Once you state, the reasoning for closing, and then call the vote, and then as each member votes, we can write that down, on that sheet.
You said something about a reason for closing it?
Yes, you've got to state that the authority under State Government Article 10-508, and then if you look at number 3, You got to read out that it says to consider the acquisition of real property for public purposes and matters directly related thereto.
Okay.
That's the justification.
Okay.
All right, so can we take a motion from the members?
Do it individually.
I think you have to read that. Are you just going to go with what I read? Okay.
But I need somebody to make the motion.
So moved, Steve.
Okay,
There are reasons for closing the public meeting are number 2 and 3. To protect the privacy or reputation of individuals concerning a matter not related to public business, and to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and matters directly related thereto, according to the state government article 10-508A. That okay?
Look,
is that complete motion?
Yes. Did you have a second?
So
I'll
Steve,
well,
Steve made the motion and Scott second. All right, those in favor of the motion as read by John Marion, okay, by saying aye. Aye.
Probably have to kind of do a roll call since we
Yeah.
Okay,
call out each member.
all right. Go ahead.
Steve Meyer, aye.
John Merriman, aye. Scott Welsh, aye.
Dale Enzer, aye. Okay. The motion passes to have a closed session.
Are you ready to stop recording?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.